Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so I'm fresh off of making a playlist. I made sure that I blended all the music that I put together on this thing last night, and I think it came out better than the last two. So I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but as I was putting the music together, I was feeling just about everything there. So that's what you want when you're a playlist curator like myself. Go ahead and follow me on Apple Music, BDF 44 over there. So, yeah, I felt compelled to make a therapy session here, of course, as I'm on the camera, as you can clearly see. With everything that I have going on, it was something that I gave some prayer to, as I always do when I'm going through my hard times. And after I finished the playlist, I'm like, all right, Lord, what's the next thing you want me to do? He said, turn on the camera. And I was like, okay, that's you know what I mean. That's the kind of vibes that I have right now. But first of all, I want to send some energy, positive energy, toward those who were affected by the shooting in Jacksonville. A man walked into Jacksonville, I believe it was a Dollar Tree of some sort, or a dollar store, some one type of dollar store, and shot down 3 black people, Caucasian man. I haven't seen any footage of the, you know, aftermath, I guess you can say, the news or anything. I haven't clicked on anything as of yet. I'm just aware. I was just made aware of it in regards to just seeing it on my timeline. So I haven't ventured down the rabbit hole, but I do feel so very dejected by so many of these type of murders, as well as any other type of murders that take place. You know, in this situation, a lot of times I'm so defensive about the retort to black on black crime versus uh, these type of situations, and I don't, for whatever reason, harbor that thought today. I really am more so saying I am sick of blacks killing blacks, just like I am sick of these mass shootings as well. I really am tired of seeing us die, man. It's a different kind of thing for me right now, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's just simply because of how it's been this year, and we've just been losing so many people. As I was telling you guys, S Bone just passed away last week. It's just hearing about all these shootings. It's just getting to a point where, as I was sitting here meditating about all the different things that I said on on my list of what the things I wanted the Lord to do for me, and one of the things I think I want him to do is just change the overall environment in regards to the murder culture in this country and beyond. Make it not so cool to kill again. You know what I mean? Not to say that people are going to handle their conflicts any other way, but just the murder for nothing. Let's chase my, you know, that neighbor down, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff for no rhyme or reason. That has to, that culture I really want the Lord to change, man. I want that to change. And in the presence of this shooting, um, I get to then turn my attention to the racism in the country. I can turn to what has happened with Donald Trump and how a lot of people are unhappy with that in Atlanta, and just, probably going to act up in ways that they haven't until he's freed of these charges and ultimately able to run for president. And so it's just a lot of stuff I think has people on edge in general in this country right now. And I just think that we've gotten to a point where the desensitization of these mass shootings has made it for myself. It's almost come full circle. It's like now I'm really once again affected by it, I guess you can say. It's like I see so much of it, doesn't bother you, doesn't bother until again you're just like, we're still doing this. And so that's kind of where I'm at in regards to that particular conversation. I just don't feel nothing but sorrow for the families, and I send out prayers, of course, to those who, again, were devastated by what took place there. And I think about myself when I go to my little dollar store down the street. It could have been anybody, it could be me right there in that dollar store easily. So, you know what I'm saying? I believe that took place in one of the Carolinas. I don't quite remember where that was. No, Jacksonville. It was in Jacksonville. Yes, I'm sorry, Jacksonville, Florida. So, yeah, man, just prayers out to everybody over there. So yeah, I wanted to move on from that. I did apply for an apartment listing that I saw on IG, lowincome-apartment-listings.com. It's like not .com, but I think that's more or less the type of page that I found this listing on. It's a place over in Carson / Torrance, low income, that kind of thing. They got they are accepting lottery applicants for Section 8, and I do believe I've applied for that lottery. So I just threw a rabbit in there and say, "What? Why not? Let me see if there's any chance I could at least get to the door and tell somebody what I'm going through and figure it out from there." And so that's really a Hail Mary. I'm not thinking much of it. Also, my sister did let me know that she's been tapped in with Karen Bass, the mayor there in Los Angeles here, and she's essentially saying, try to contact her. And so I did once again reach out to the number available on the link that she sent, that connects you to the mayor's office. And of course, I reached out to the mayor when I first got the information on the process of being, if seeing the sheriffs eventually coming in. As soon as that became the case, when I spoke to my sister initially, she of course told me about Karen Bass, as we talked about before. So, it's kind of one of those things where, I just placed a phone call, but they're of course closed on the weekend, so I'll give them a call on Monday. My sister said I should probably go to court with representation, but I just don't think between now and Monday I can really do that for myself. Plus, if I was going to bring representation, it would have been before this situation occurred. Now we're past defending myself, and it's more so about forced compliance. So I don't know that I have a leg to stand on, only a request to make. Now, granted, I don't know my laws. I'm a layman, but when it really comes down to it, if the time to bring the Lord to court most definitely was when the trial was occurring, and I neglected to do that, and we saw how that played out. So I don't look to ask for anything but a stay of eviction to get my stuff together and ultimately make my plans so that I can land on my feet. But that is not something I'm supposed to have, apparently, unless they grant it to me. So that is the reality of it. I only sit here and look to comply. So that's my intention, and that is what's going to happen. So that's one aspect of it. But like I said, I called, and I do very much intend on calling right before I go down there on Monday, or on the way there, probably on the way there as I walk. So that's something I do need to not forget to do. So I'm very forgetful these days. I've let my mind kind of go back to just whatever land, and as I've been telling you guys, and it ain't good for me. You know what I mean? That's never good for me, especially with what it is I've been going through. And I found myself very unhappy in that space over the last 3 days. I found myself sitting in the same spot saying, God, I'm just like empty. I need something that's going to redirect me back to you. And I was failing to do that, but once the sheriff came knocking on the door, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I'm back around, that kind of thing. So it doesn't matter now at this point. I feel very confident that moving forward, I've learned some very good lessons, reinforcing just how quick the Lord works in both good ways and in ways that come down on you. So we learn these lessons, and we definitely log them on this channel, because I always tell you it's all about timing, and that goes both ways. So for those who don't believe in karma, I'm not trying to test God, but I'm just looking at things. It's just happening. It is happening as it is. It's undeniable. And so I think that's the point. I think the fact that the timing is so rhythmic within my life can only reinforce that the faith that I apply has some mojo or merit, or however you feel. But I apply it, and as I've always told you guys, that's not true. As I've recently said, my doubt is a much worse predictor than my faith. And so as I apply faith properly, I don't run into trouble. It's when I walk away from that faith that I run into trouble. And it's just the truth. So I'm humbled by that truth, and I'm ready to pay the piper. And I don't want to presume. I presume that I'm ready. But to know what's ahead would be to mean that you are ready. I don't know what's ahead, but I am ready to apply faith to my circumstance, and I'm ready to be of good energy as I approach it, and whatever comes with that, I hope to react to it as I have with balance and protection of self in mind. And I know how I am, but I want to incorporate different ways to do that, more effective ways of doing that, without having to be in isolation. So humbled by the circumstances, but not surprised. Just wish I would have seen the timing. And this is the problem with this month. Last month, around this time, like the 26, 27, I was assuming that it was a good chance the sheriff was coming. But once I received the information that Taryn Bass told everybody to lay off and that she was going to try to fight however she was fighting or whatever she was going to do, this month, I'm like, oh, okay, we're under that. And I was looking around yesterday. I think it was last night before I went to sleep. I was looking around saying, wow, it was last night. Because I remember sitting on that floor next to my black table, which I just assembled yesterday, thinking this room has never been blacker because of the table, of course. And then from there, that thought came into my mind. So it was like certain yesterday. But yeah, that's how that went. You know, you just get to a point where you understand that some things are just happening in sequence. That if you're really, really tapped in with the Holy Spirit, I don't know how else to put it, but if you're really spiritually inclined, He's gonna let you know certain things. Like, just let you know. Something else, like last night, I believe it was last night or the night before, I was beginning to post, I think it was the night before, beginning to post art on one of the two platforms. I believe it was Pixiv. And as I was putting in all the information necessary to do so, the Lord said, this right now signals the beginning of a new chapter in your life. And I was just sitting there like, this moment right now, as I'm putting in the art, and it reaffirmed that thought, like, yes, this moment, this one right here, this is like chapter whatever, the new page. This is the new page. And I'm finding out that predictor, so to speak, that little affirmation in my head, whatever little thought I let slide into my mind, it really did predict what ultimately looks like it's going to be very much a new chapter in my life. You know, and it's just, it's that for which I trust that is a better predictor than that of which I doubt. And so I'm just learning that I've applied doubt to a lot of things in my life by default. And that awakenings came while I was in this apartment. And so as I look at what's happening here, depending on if I'm able to get the stay of eviction or not, I'm just trying to get a feel for what He's doing next. And that's kind of what I was saying yesterday. I was sitting up so out of it, unfortunately unhappy, just in my own space of nothingness. As I was saying, what is next? You know, like, if this is a new chapter, so to speak, what is next? And you know, the feeling I get today is just the carousel. The carousel, the up and the down, slow up and down. And I just wonder what that actually means to me as I trust that for which I let into my heart and mind, that I now can learn to trust and be predetermined in whatever's next. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like I trusted that next chapter thing, and here we are with the next chapter. Well, I'm trusting that carousel energy, and I'm wondering what's coming. What ups and downs am I going to have to go through? And will I perceive them to be as nice as a carousel? So, you know, that's really what it is, man. I'm ready to undo some of this trash I've been talking about within myself that I really want to overcome, these conditionings that don't present myself to be much of much. And another thing that I'm looking around this apartment is I'm starting to finally dream of putting better things in it. You know, as I was telling you guys, I want to add this, I want to add that to my apartment because I got my space. And I was thinking in the back of my mind that you were presumptuous that you would actually have this space, and presumptuous that you would actually have the money to buy the things that you want. But it was that presumptuous nature within me that helped me also understand that, yeah, that's exactly what it is though. Like, I'm going to improve all of the things in my life, however I'm going to go about it. And even though this circumstance is going to happen, I'm going to watch God do whatever it is He's going to do. I trust that from there I'll land on my feet and continue this process in a better environment that doesn't have all of the pain attached to its place that I have to it. Everything that's been outdated that I've been complaining about. And to get new things, you know, the most important new thing that I need to get, besides my mind renewed in what it is I need to be doing, is a new environment from which to dwell. And so maybe even a new state from which to live. And so I don't know what's next, but I'm hoping the Lord can make me excited about it more so than just terrified of it, because I'm looking to apply what it is I've been saying here. My faith just simply is a better predictor than my doubt, and my application of the energy that works in God's favor, that allows me to be better and utilize my time better, is the energy that ultimately keeps me out of circumstances that I do not like. So that's what it is. And when I get through, you know, when I go through hard times and apply these deep faith mindsets that ultimately kind of carry me through my tough moments or whatever I'm going through, that's the energy that is most rewarding, not what happens when I sigh a breath of relief and go back to whatever it is comes normal to me, which isn't good. As I'm clearly seeing, it doesn't bring forth new things. It doesn't bring forth the type of effort that I can see the fruit around me in. You know, looking at stuff on IG, just from regular posts that people post, I'm like, the correlation between the work and success in the environment. You know, people are putting themselves in positions to be successful or chase success so that they can have a lifestyle. Now, I was looking at Milk97 posted something a couple days ago. Stuck in my mind, and of course I told you guys I pray for that dude too. He's on the list. He's been on there for almost a year now, maybe longer. But Milk, the YouTuber who's always reacting to people and getting into it with black gangsters, as he's a Caucasian gangster, but that's a whole other story. The point is, that dude, him, posted something that really stuck with me, and he said, you know, my lifestyle, I'm trying to improve upon my lifestyle or something of that nature, and he posted a picture of a tub, like a luxury type tub, and he was just getting into it or what have you. The point is, the lifestyle, creature comforts, and the things of that nature that make you feel better about living, those are things that ultimately should hold a little value, if not more than a little value in my life. And at this point, I don't have no, none of those things in my life. And I'm ready to incorporate some of them into my life the right way. And so, so that my whole person, so to speak, can reflect better in everything that I do. And my confidence can be better. And then from there, I can build what needs to be built. So, it's baby steps. Fighting through bad conditioning, as we always talk about, the frustration of the stress, and then honestly just being sick these last couple of days, as I told you guys about and everything, and just my body not necessarily reacting well to what I'm going through right now. I had one meal today, and it was about 3 or 4 bites of oatmeal. Couldn't eat any more. So yes, that's my problem. I can psych my mind into being okay about stuff, but my body is always going to tell me it's tripping, and that's just part of it. So been going through that for like 2 days, 3 days. Like, body's just been acting up with stomach issues and all kinds of stuff. So I'm hoping that today can be kind of the beginning of the end of that sickness, because I do feel a lot better today. So that's the most important thing I can say, and I'm proud that the work that I've been putting in on my exercise kind of helped with that. Even though I was a little ill, I was still pushing, and so that's what gives you the energy. I think that's another thing that I've been thinking about. It's just my understanding of, how to get my body to where it needs to be. I think I have a very good understanding of what works for me and what doesn't, as it pertains to exercise and stretching, and just the consistency necessary to be as sharp of a body as I want to be. And so that's what I've gathered in this house for sure. I don't think I have the eating down yet. I have to cook myself better meals so I can digest them properly. That's part of the problem here, is just me being undisciplined in just what I do, and not very intricate in giving myself enough inconsistency in my meals so that my stomach can settle for what it is that it needs to do, because that's really what it is. Eating the same thing too often, and sometimes what it is probably shouldn't be eaten like that. And so that's what it is for me. That's what I kind of run into. It's just I choose simplicity and easy over the complex and luxury as it pertains to eating. Like all the different things that people do, I don't really cook too much because I don't like cleaning. That's one part of it, and also because a lot of the stuff that I would otherwise cook would have grease and stuff like that, so I just stopped cooking altogether because I wanted to stop eating like that. So it's a lot of stuff that I just did just because I'm alone. It's like I don't have a wife here that's gonna help me with none of this stuff, so it ain't no sense I'm to cook for nobody. All I'm gonna look at it to say, well, not a nice meal here, and now I got to do up 20 minutes worth of dishes. I just ain't gonna want to do, you know what I mean? So it's like I opt for ease, and then when I started having them dietary issues, the allergies and all that crap, then I started just going with certain types of food that my body would allow me to settle. So that's what I'm hopeful will happen now, is that my body will kind of get into a space where I can eat a little more regularly, in terms of like how regular people eat, but not bad, if that makes any sense. But to switch up the meals and just have actual meals, dinner or whatever the heck people really eat, man. Hopefully I can get to a place where there's a fridge so I can get back to cooking, essentially what I'm saying. So yeah, that's part of it. Just the change in overall need for things to upgrade in my life, and just how that correlates with how fed up I've been in this house these last 2 days, and how quickly it went from that to now I have to be out in 5 days potentially. It's just really strange how that works. And also, there was another thing that I wanted to share in regards to how I was feeling today when I was meditating, holding the notice from the sheriffs. And I told you guys I was having all these different thoughts about it and looking through it. It's a symbolic way of looking past the circumstance, putting it behind my back as a means of symbolically saying that it's making me stronger and making my back more or less stronger, giving me a spine, so to speak. It's just the various stuff like that. But it was something else that happened that I think was key as well in regards to that, and it was the feeling that I got when I was leaving Park Place. And I think I mentioned this on camera in one of these 400 plus therapy sessions. But when I left Park Place, which was a place that I worked from like 2011 to 2014, I think. It might have been something like that. Or maybe it was I don't know, somewhere in that range. It's way back there. But the point is, I worked there for about 3 years, and the day that I quit the job, I felt a certain way about leaving the place. I was sitting out there cleaning. They had turned my job from security guard to maintenance man. So I'm out there cleaning and didn't want to do it. But, I was having a good day, and all of a sudden, the spirit of completion just hit me in the middle of my shift. And I just said I quit. I was looking around, rather. It didn't go quite like that. I looked around the pool area. It felt the sun shining on my face a certain way, and just felt that spirit that comes to me just like it is right now, telling me all this. Basically saying I could leave now. Like literally telling me, you've done everything I want you to do here. You don't have to be here anymore. And it had been a lot going on in that place. I went on a whole mission of telling all the different people on the board that I didn't think I had been treated fairly, and all kinds of other stuff that it was really, really taxing on my spirit. But I was up for it. For whatever reason, I think I was a much stronger person when I was back then than I feel to be right now. But nevertheless, that's what it was. My mother was still alive. That's part of it. But, it was one of those things where it's like, at that moment, when it was time to leave that place, I felt a certain energy about myself that I hadn't felt since until now. That's what I was getting around to saying. I felt that while I was holding that thing. It was like, yo, we're getting that same feeling of completion. When you know that the Lord is ushering you completely out of an era, and you ain't gonna probably be in the same place that you've been. That's what I felt like right now. Like, yo, it is time to go, and we're gonna be completing this thing. And that's just the vibe. So I wanted to share that and document that to remind myself that this does feel like the end of my time here, based on that consistency and vibes of the circumstance. And it was just a lot of love there. Like a lot of love felt while I was holding that thing. And as I told you guys, I felt deep love was supposed to come from whatever it is this is going to be. Not necessarily the action itself, but it's going to take me down a path where I'll learn a lot more about what love actually is. I'm getting the vibes. I guess that's what the vibes are. I don't know. But I just go with it, man. I literally go with it. And you guys know that I walk by faith, walk by vibes. You know what I mean? That's literally how I'm saying it. But no, honestly, the spirit was always, for we walk by faith and not by sight. That was the phrase, rather, not the spirit. But that's what the Spirit of the Lord put in that book, for those of us who believe that. And I kind of take that seriously. My mother has always put that in my heart. It was one of my favorite verses. So, I kind of took that too far in some ways and didn't always know that I wasn't applying faith. You know what I mean? It was to be aware that you're not applying faith. Just because you are a faithful person doesn't necessarily mean that when you don't apply a certain trust, that it's going to work out for you. That trust is going to have to be applied so that the Lord can bring you whatever it is that ultimately you're going to have to trust Him in order to get. Now, if you don't trust Him, you can still believe in Him, but if you don't allow yourself to walk down that path He wants you to go down, and you're not going to get what He wants you to have, you'll just be having another path that he'll still have you in his arms, but it's not going to be what it is that he's trying to get you to. So it's kind of how I'm looking at it, at my life in a lot of cases. Just go down the path he wants you to go down, and if you happen to get derailed, you just let him know what your truth is in regards to that derailment, and pledge yourself to be better and do better, and then learn. Don't just feel the punishment and get angry, but learn. If you were punished, or if you're put in a position to get the wisdom from that, harbor that wisdom as a reason for doing the right thing. Because when you allow yourself to lose that reason, you will also go down a path that will help you lose every other reason that will ultimately keep you aligned with what's right. And I've learned that you can't allow yourself to do it even a little bit in some cases, depending on your walk and who you are, because it's just like any other domino effect. You let go of one of those dominoes, and of course the rest will fall. And that's kind of how it goes. It becomes a rabbit hole of sin, so to speak, or a rabbit hole of wrongdoing or whatever. Some of us just can't toy with that, especially if we're responsible for many. And so as I keep that wisdom in my heart, I toyed at times, but the timing of the Lord getting me back on track was quick. And whatever his plan is for my life, I don't know what it is, but I can say that doing what he wants me to do has always made me at peace with the circumstances that may be. And sometimes I look back on my past and I say the most difficult times that I went through, I found faith to help me get through it. And for those who don't believe in God, that's an underrated thing to have to look back on. For those who don't believe in faith, that's an underrated thing to look back on when you consider what, and I'm going to say it like this, irrational positivity can do for the morale of helping you make decisions and otherwise keep yourself calm when absolutely necessary. And so I look back and I say, that's what God did. When I was at my most anxious, I was doing all that praying and how I was, and he just get me through it. Now, when I didn't, as a child, have anxiety attacks instead of going to that God, for which I didn't know how to do the same way I do now, had I known how to do that, maybe I could have coerced myself away from some of the worst of reactions to that anxiety. Maybe even coerced myself away from the anxiety somewhat. But that you address it with that faith gives you an opportunity to at least have some defense against what it is that you're doing that you shouldn't. And that's really what we need to want for ourselves. In my case, in this particular example, it's just going too far into my own defenses and not allowing the Lord to help guide me out of those defenses so that I can be of service to whatever it is that he would want me to be. Or just the same, just now accept that he, for the first time, may want me to do something different, and now it's time to do it. However it's supposed to play out, the acceptance of new things and the ability for the Lord to use you however he's going to. Your willingness to apply that faith will allow you to be more ready to be used in that way. But if you don't, you will also be used by the enemy just the same for whatever his purposes are. And there's nothing good for you at the end of that battle that you're going to ultimately be in. So, yeah, that's what I know. I don't want to fight for the wrong side while trying to cope with whatever it is that I don't like about life. I woke up this morning thankful that the Lord allowed me to receive that moment without some of the anxieties, predictions, so to speak, about how that was supposed to go. No trauma, no drama, no nonsense. Way later than was intended or thought it would be. And so all these different things just help me understand that whatever's next is going to have them attached to it too. And so I hope I'm putting myself out there to be a better person. I'm thankful that he allowed me to see myself before I left here too. For some reason, I got to be gone in 5 days. These last couple of days, it's helped me understand there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of convincing to do so that the work can be done. And that starts inside of me, and that relationship with God, and the respect to fear him enough to not play around. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm hoping to gain. A lot of times I've told you guys, oh Lord, has came to me in his own way and has told me to stop doing certain things, those things really do have to be stopped, whatever they are. You know what I mean? Like, if you get one of those kind of confirmations in life, you can have a great relationship with God. I'm gonna tell you right now, you can have a great relationship with God. But if you do not follow that, he can still put you through a lot. And it will be because you didn't follow what it is he told you to do. He is there with those he puts through a lot. He's there with those who he has a graceful life, a soft life through. But, you know, a lot of that has what we're building and what we're doing and what we're putting together in our lives, a lot of times will determine that for other people, whether or not they have better lives and such. So, you know, we just got to take the cards we're given, as I've often heard others say, and move in a direction that allows for us to affect others in a positive way, regardless of the good and the bad that happens in our lives, so that it can reflect positively on our last names, blah, blah, blah. You've heard me say this many times. So, yeah, that's the gist of what I always want to take from these type of situations. Not just to say, oh, I did something and it was ultimately it ultimately came down to things not working out for me, or my set of behaviors ultimately led to my downfall, or however I would say that to be. At the end of the day, when you have an opportunity to use what it is that you've done wrong as a means of showing others how to not fall down those same roads, there are no mistakes, only opportunities to grow for yourself and others. And so that's what I choose to take from this. Also, the cognizance to say, I see to all of you that say, this has nothing to do with something you did. This is more so about just the timing of what needs to happen as it correlates to what you expect based on what it is you've been going through with your living in situation. So for those who are saying there's no correlation, it was just the end of the month and it's time for me to serve you, I say to you, doesn't matter. That's the beauty of the truth of the Holy Spirit. He can exist in those circumstances while that truth be the case. Simplest put, do you choose to look at the timing and learn the lesson, or do you choose to ignore that and not learn the lesson? It's not about you being punished. Not necessarily. You're going to be punished regardless. It's about you being cognizant of why, and that you understand how to prevent it so that you don't have to go through it. And so for those of us who want to ignore that in my life, we just say, dude, okay, your energy is fine, and whatever just happened to you is based on the timing of things that's naturally taking place. God had nothing to do with it. I'll say that God can teach me while you believe that. You can teach me through how I'm perceiving what I'm going through. And you can still have that in your mind and it all add up just fine. That's the beauty of God. See, a lot of what I've come to understand is that the devil tries to hide in the details of circumstance. He wants to act like he's not there. You know what I mean? Even though he's actually there. The opposite actually is God can both be and not be and still effectively move all throughout the world. There are many people who live in the truth that God doesn't exist, and they still don't necessarily stop what he's doing at all. And so it's an understanding that sometimes if you're not paying close enough attention, you will not see God. Just like if you're not paying close enough attention, you will not see the enemy. And that's just what I've come to understand in my own walk. This is one of those examples. Just don't see him there. Maybe you just can't. Maybe the reality of the circumstance shows you that it's just time for me to be kicked up out of here. But what I know is what I've been engaging in that he didn't like. I know what he told me last time I engaged in that, and the time before, that he didn't like. And then I seen how he came down on me each and every time, and I felt the peace in my heart as I received it to respect him more. Now, like, yo, I get it. Not only do I get it, but I'm sick of trying to learn a lesson the same way. And since it hasn't destroyed me yet, let me move forward in a way that you can respect by saying I learned the lesson this time, and now I'm looking to provide the layers of that lesson to make me respect even further. Lesson being learned, rather. And them harsh punishments coming down back to back, or however they went. I'm ready to not only take it on the chin if it comes for more. If there's more that needs to come for me to be able to receive that, I'll receive that. So long as you keep me on the path I need to be on with the things that I'm working on, and that you bring me to a space where, again, I can earn my way into heaven. And that's ultimately what it really needs to be about. If there's a heaven out there, I want to get there so I can see my mama and everybody else that I've lost in this life. And that's what I've been thinking about. However much time is left, we start thinking about, oh my God, our times, the things that we're going through is so long, this and that, third. But the older you get, the shorter them days are. The older you get, the shorter those nights are. This is not a long life. And before you know it, you will be old and ready to go. And so it's like, now that I see that and I'm already 40 next year, it's like, all right, fam. Not only do I not want to play around, but I kind of want to know what it looks like when I don't. I want to know what it looks like when I take life seriously for a change, and maybe it's too late, and maybe that's okay. But if there is a chance for me to get it right, I would love to find a way to learn how to want it for myself. You know, how to do so for myself. But more so to want to make good decisions so that I can enjoy the environments that ultimately I've depraved myself of by sitting here in complacency and not necessarily moving. So it's just thought, that is a thought, man. I feel really, really, really confident that this is a good decision, turning on this camera. I got art to make now for the playlist I just made, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy listening to it because that was some really good music, man. Shout out to everybody. Man, Ice Latte something. There was a dude that came out with an album, and he stood with like Starbucks employees. It's the name of homeboy, and I can't click away from y'all to tell y'all his name, but like every song on the album got some type of coffee reference or coffee type reference of some sort. And I'm telling you, the ratio on that album, based on my taste, dude's album has like, out of 18 songs, probably like 14 or 15 of them that I like. And so I just wish I knew what homie's name is. It's not coming to mind at all, but you'll know it when you see it. He's a rap artist. But dude, he's like a Drake clone, but the best kind of Drake clone, if that makes any sense. He's really, really damn good at what he does. He's just making a bunch of Drake songs, honestly, but damn good ones. So the production's fantastic. His voice is great. The writing's good. And I just found myself using a bunch of his music, and damn it if I knew his name. But go look for the dude. It's a bunch of coffee stuff, man. It's a new album that just came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But that shit is fire, man. Really, really fire. So I'm gonna enjoy that, and all the other songs that I put on the album. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at with it. Just very, very happy that I was able to get some things off my chest, and now just ready for whatever the Lord is gonna give me. Hopefully, He can give me some pointers on what to do, or line some stuff up, or put something in my face that'll make all this make sense, or something. Or just do whatever He wants to do, but just know I'm gonna be praying the whole way, And I'm thankful. I want everybody to know how much I appreciate what you guys do for me. Obviously, following my channel and supporting me throughout, praying for everybody, not just myself, as we always say, but making sure that if you're a believer, you send them prayers out there. And of course, again, just we full circle. Those in Jacksonville, man, will never get too far away from what's going on in other people's lives, especially when they suffer tragedies that are much worse than what you're going through. It just gives you perspective to understand that you're in the center of the universe, and you can be someone else's support even when you're going through what you're going through. And yeah, that's also something I've been able to enjoy with my unfortunate circumstances that some of my friends are going through in their lives, but still showing me the support that they show me, my sister, and everybody who's going through their own thing. It just helps me understand just how unselfish I need to become and how far away from a good person I actually am right now, with the intention of hoping to become that, not get worse. So that's the thought. And yeah, man, these are heavy times, but depending on what the Lord wants to do next, could be rewarding times. I think that's the problem, is you want to say you're ready, you want to just stand it up, but you don't really know when you're dealing with what I'm dealing with. And I think that's kind of what it needs to be. I've been in the comfort of my own space and just ain't really gotten over that threshold to become the man that I want to be. Still childish in nature and stuff of that nature. Still cowardice in nature as it pertains to moving around and doing what needs to be done to put myself out there. This is a lot of stuff that it's mental health stuff, but it's also just get fed up and do something different, Brandon stuff. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, just get fed up and do something else. And so that's what I'm hoping the Lord can do for me. Make me fed up with this. I thought I was fed up with this type of stuff years ago, but apparently not enough to do what needed to be done and not have to go through it. This time, for whatever I got left, for whatever's going to happen next, I want, if I haven't learn the lesson. I want to learn my lessons, and I want to overcome what otherwise would make it so that I still do the dumb things over and over again. And if you're like that, just know you're not alone, man. And don't let nobody shame you into thinking that there's no hope, because if it ain't no hope for you, it definitely ain't no hope for me. And damn it, I'm gonna find mine. So you're gonna find yours too. If you're determined enough and you put the Lord first, you can overcome your ways, and other people won't have to suffer them. And that's what makes the hard work worth it. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.